our CTO. We'll get rolling into the webinar and talk to you guys about a spectacular platform that can help modernize mid-sized banks for digital success. Please keep your teams muted so that we can have a great webinar. So the agenda today will be, first we'll go into a short introduction. We'll review the challenges that we're seeing with banks, mid-sized banks out there. Solutions overview, why this is different than what's been available in the past. And then we'll talk about next steps. So on to the introduction. So who's Crossvale? Why are we here? We're here with Red Hat because we are a Red Hat partner, been doing work with Red Hat for many years on container platforms, automation, and app modernization. So won many Container Platform Specialist of the Year award, Partner of the Year, Apex Premier Partner, Solutions Builder Program. So there's a lot of things that we've done with Red Hat, and this is why we're jointly bringing this conversation to you with Red Hat and Crossvale. We've been in business 22 years. We have 24/7 support for the solutions that we build and platforms that we manage for our clients, and have operations in the US and EMEA. There's a list of some banks here that we've provided solutions for over the years, medium-sized banks to very large banks across EMEA and North America. And we are also a Microsoft Gold partner. We're an award-winning global leader in enterprise solutions. Just a little background on Crossvale. We come from the application modernization part of the IT world, where we've helped organizations modernize their applications. And this is what's helped us understand how to bring you a solution that can drive business results for banks. Our passion is, our vision is by providing innovative and tailored solutions. We are leveling the playing field and helping our customers reach their full potential to enable them to rise above, compete, and leave a lasting mark in their industry. We believe every organization, regardless of size, should be out there to be able to compete just like the big players out there in the marketplace. Digital transformation helps drive our capability to do this for our clients. Experience, trust, passion, and results are our core values that our employees live by. Now we're going to move into the challenges. I'm going to introduce Jose Alonso, our CTO, to start talking to you about the challenges the banks are having out there. Jose?
Hello, am I audible? Can you guys hear me? All right.
Yep.
Great. Thank you. So we have prepared a set of challenges that we keep seeing in banks. We have a set of business, technology, and people. It doesn't mean that it affects everybody, but these are the most common that we see across multiple banks of different sizes. So from a business size, from a business type of challenges, we see always the new generation customer that is very difficult to attract and retain. And that leads into the customer attrition. Like with the competition that we are seeing, like all of these challenges are related. Between the competition that we are getting from the fintech companies, plus the competition that we get from of the traditional banks, our customer base is getting eroded, and more people have a lot more options that they used to have. Also, there are certain type of processes that traditionally has been low volume, and now we are getting a massive amount of data and processes and requests. Like the case of disputes is very common right now because of the cost of executing the process and the increase of the volume. So even though today may not be a challenge, that today we have it under control, when we see the rate of increase of the request that we are getting, plus the cost of those disputes, it start to get in a very reasonable number to find a different way of dealing with them. Also, from a number of years to now, we have been seeing an evolution from the customer going from branch to digital, that really neglects a lot of the investment that banks have made into creating branch experience, like top of the line, and creating more and more solutions for branches. Like now, customer is expecting that fintech type of function, that ubiquitous functionality that you can access from everywhere with a very fast-paced delivery that you can really self-serve yourself. Of course, this is always under a very dynamic compliance that it keeps changing and it keeps keeping us busy. When just maintaining compliance is very hard, when we add all of these challenges and all the solutions that we
used. That was the one I gave you the last time. I did it by accident. So don't use that one.
Give me 1 second.
Sorry.
No worries. When we go into it's very difficult to maintain that compliance and to deliver functionality at the speed that the market requires. All of these, we have traditionally been relying on an infrastructure that was that we can consider legacy, and legacy is what we are building today is tomorrow's legacy. It doesn't matter if it is modern infrastructure. What matters is that if we have the capabilities that enable us to deliver fast solutions, maintaining that compliance. If we go to the next slides, please. From a technology standpoint, again, traditionally, this type of banks, we have been always bank-centric or solution-centric. We used to have a deposit system, a loan system, a customer system that they were all separated. So the information was in each system separated from each other. That has created silos that when we want to create a customer-centric experience, creates a big challenge. As I explained before, the volume of requests that it might increase the cost of operations, but on technology, it can push the technology past the point of function into the point of risk, into the point of not being able to cope with the demand that we are getting. And can you please mute if you are not talking, please? For the rest of the items that we have here in the slide, we always have a desire on reducing the cost that we have for serving those customers. We also want, like completely contradictory, create a better experience for that customer that may increase the cost for us. But we need to find a way to deliver that while not increasing the cost per customer. And this is the mantra, always increasing the value that we are getting per customer, increasing the number of relationships that we have, or the finding ways to cross-sell and upsell more into these customers. Can we go to the next slide, please? So when we try to deliver solutions for this, we find that we also have challenges that are related to the development of new solutions. We have a set of inputs like the business problem, the intake, the implementation, validation, delivery. But to be able to deliver that in a way that is fast and is reliable and allows us to experiment with customers and really creates an environment that allows us to go fast, like at the speed that we need to have. We find that the equipment that we have is usually, in some cases, outdated, in some cases, improvable. So if we go to the next slide, please. So how do we intend to resolve this? Crossvale, we have been working with many customers, and we have been working on these challenges for a while. So over the years, we have been collecting items that we have built, and we have tried to create a platform that solves some of these issues for you. These are the goals, these are the design principles that we have. And the goal that we have with this platform is to allow to create personalized interactions to enhance digital capabilities, to be able to seamless transition from branch to digital. So we can have rapid onboarding, we can have better experience for the customer. We want to be able to have gains in and streamline of processes so we can take the new demand that we are getting. So when we automate these processes, this allows us to serve more customers with the same amount of people. That allows us to get better results, slower response times, better customer experience. And as always, compliance has to be considered from the get-go. Is not an afterthought, is embedded into the middle of everything that we are going to show. So can we go to the next slide, please? How does a platform, can we create a platform that can execute on multiple banks? We have created a platform that contains roughly 80 to 90% pre-built. It allows some customization on that pre-built, but then also allow for that extra 10 to 15% of customization. And what is that customization? Well, this platform runs wherever you want. It runs in cloud, it runs in on-premise, it runs on VMware, it runs on bare metal, it runs in AWS or in Azure. It works with your existing system of records. It does not replace them. It does work with your codes. It works with your online banking. It does not replace them. It allows you to enhance the services that you are exposing to your customers. It allows you to create advanced functionality. As you can see in the customization section, we have things that are defined during an engagement with us. Things like business continuity goals, things like dashboards and KPIs. Each customer will have its own. Each customer will have its own needs. We do have some of them that are predefined, and they are readily available as soon as we deploy. And you have, as part of the pre-build, you have the standards, you have the architecture, you have the platform, the network, the processes. You have a lot of things that are pre-built. They are part of the solution. It doesn't mean that you need to use all of them. As part of this solution, we are going to see now how these, you see here in the bottom of the presentation, the slide, that we have Bridge, Atomic, and Orchestrator. This is really our architecture. We create bridges to handle communication with system of records, Atomic to create an internal representation into our internal data model, and then orchestrators to create functions that can be exposed to channels or can be exposed to create advanced functionalities. This model can be extended. It is not set in stone, and it keeps evolving with every engagement that we do. We see a need, we code that need, and we make it part of the model. So if we go to the next, in the next couple of slides, we are going to see how does this work. So when we start working with a customer, we first go into a definition phase where we define the destination. What do we want to, where do we want to run? What system of records are we going to have? Like, are we going to run with FIS, with thesis, with Fiserv? What is it? Where is our data? What data do we want to access? What data do we want to share? What data do we want to collect and have readily available, either in a form of a cache or in a data lake or in whatever it is? Right now, in these initial phases, we are working on defining the needs for the next gen. In the platform build, we are going to create the infrastructure to support everything that will be deployed after. This platform build, again, it works in every major hardware provider, in every major cloud, in everywhere where you want to run it. We run on top of OpenShift from Red Hat, which means that we have the perfect sandbox that we can carry and deploy anywhere. Our system behaves the same. It works exactly the same in VMware than it does on AWS. So you will like to have an environment where you have both deployments models, one part in the cloud, one part on premise. We can do that. We leverage our partners in a way that allows us to get the most out of each one. So if, for instance, we have some functions that requires elasticity, we are going to be pushing that into a cloud provider when we have something that requires, like, it's going to be always running. It doesn't matter the time that it takes, but we want to have it running. We may save cost by executing on-premise if we have an on-premise installation. If we go to cloud, maybe we need to find a different type of resource. So all that customization is what we are going to be doing during the definition and during the platform build. After that, there is a step that is called solution integration. And here is where we integrate with your ITSM, with your ServiceNow, with your Remedy, with whatever you are using to handle releases, patches, etc. We want this to be part of an extension of your infrastructure, so we don't change anything without having proper approvals. This works integrated with ServiceNow. It follows, or your ITSM, and it follows that path of approvals. After that, we start talking about processes and people change. How is this affecting my processes and my people? Well, this is designed to be agile. Again, is part of the benefits that we want to have by adopting this platform is to be able to have quick releases and to be able to have a very mature GitOps and DevOps, so we can onboard quickly a new application, change configurations very quickly. And as I said before, running on top of OpenShift, everything is containers, everything is a container, everything is a pod running, and it allows us to have ephemeral infrastructure, self-healing applications. So the infrastructure takes care of itself to a certain point. Once we have all of these processes defined, the environment's ready, we have the integration with ITSM, then is when the app modernization starts. Even though we have all these steps, it doesn't take very long to go through this section that we just covered. It can happen in a couple of weeks. It can happen in a month. It depends on the amount of decisions that we can make and how fast can we get to those agreements with you. Once we reach this point, everything speeds up, because now all the processes are built, and now it's the time to deploy services. And we will be deploying the next-gen accelerators that we will show in the next couple of slides. And we will start doing the data sharing. We will start doing the system of record integration. This means that we need network access to your system of records. It means that if the network is not in place, that will need to happen. So depending on how this set of pre-requirements go, it will go faster or it will go slower. Typically, this goes very, very fast because some of these networks are in place. And even though we may want to change them, that is a change that can be postponed, and we always have workarounds. So instead of an SD-WAN, we can work with VPN. Instead of working with a dedicated connectivity, we go through a network hub. We have plenty of solutions for this that we can leverage. And after this is a never-ending phase of advanced services. And this is something that you will do on your own, we will do for you, other vendors will do for you. Once we have all of this built, these services become your services, and you can leverage them to create your own functions. So you can create event-driven functions. For instance, whenever we are going to be publishing events, whenever we publish an event of something happening with your customers, you can act on that with your own microservice. Whenever we detect something from a social network, you are going to be able to create your own rules. You are going to be able to create your own models in AI to be able to serve, to be able to automate tasks, to be able to automate processes. All of these options are based on a foundation that we are going to work through in the next 3 slides. So Todd, can you go to the next slides, please? So when we go into go back one. When we go into many banks, what we find, can you go back one, please? Here. When we go into many banks, what we find is point-to-point integration or an outdated ESB or a big monolith or something that, or some vendors that are integrated to each other, but nothing that is part of the bank infrastructure where that integration becomes an asset to you. That integration allows you to build on top of it. So what we have done is we have taken the most common vendors that we have worked with through multiple engagements, and then we have created a set of services that are ready out of the box. So Todd, can you go now to the next slide, please? So once we get to the point, again, during that deployment phase, we will have all these services that are pre-built. We have this code ready. And this code, as I mentioned before, you will have bridge, atomic, and orchestrators. So what is that bridge or what is that atomic? The bridge is encapsulating everything that you need to communicate to that system of records or that API in particular. So in the case of the stake thesis, for instance, that they have a bunch of different ways to communicate. They have APIs, they have queues, they have topics, they have sockets. They have a lot of ways to communicate to them. We don't want the services to have to understand that. So what we have done is we have built those bridges that isolate us from that complexity. From that bridge up is everything is a web service call or a direct call or a queue call. So these bridges expose multiple interfaces into the atomic services, so we can create atomic representation of external services. What does that mean? An atomic representation is when we take one function that is being exposed by a third party and we make it internal. So for instance, let's continue the case of thesis. In thesis, we can add an authorization to a credit card. So we would have an atomic service that is add authorization, CC, that creates an authorization on a credit card. That atomic is the representation in our data model of the function that is provided by a third party. And why do we want to do this? Well, when we have all these functions coded internally in the same data model, it allows us to build complex orchestrators that are using multiple atomics to create functions and an experience to the customer that we couldn't do otherwise. This allows us to remove all point-to-point integrations and go through this microservices approach. Why is this microservices? Every box that we see here can run either as a standalone service or a service as part of another service. It can run in Knative, it can run in Quarkus, it can run in Spring Boot. So depends on how often do we call on the performance requirements that we have different ways to deploy these services. But you may be asking yourself, well, do they guys have everything? What happened with what they don't have? Like for instance, Temenos in this example, we wouldn't have a bridge. Imagine that you're using Temenos as the system of records. Well, we have, as I mentioned before, the platform is open so we can create more. Todd, can you go to the next? So here we have the option in each installation to extend the services that we have. And we can extend with customizations that we perform, that Crossvale performs, and you can do it yourself. You have the option to create your own atomics, your own APIs, your own orchestrators, your own bridges, and we will show you how. This is not intended to be a closed solution. It's intended to be a growing solution. The idea is that once you have these orchestrators, it allows you to build complex functions on top of them. So you may want to trigger event anytime that a customer of yours, a commercial customer, tweets something that is interesting to your case, like a new opportunity or a project that fails or anything that you consider this important. But can we go to the next slide, please? So the way to make this work, we rely on Red Hat to create a very stable platform. We run on top of OpenShift. We use several of their subscriptions. So we have Red Hat, we have Fuse, we have AMQ Streams to create a solution, not to use tools for the fun of it, but to create an outcome that you can leverage, knowing that and with the understanding that everything is coming from a supported channel, from an enterprise vendor. Like, yes, we rely on open source, but is Red Hat enterprise supported version. You will not find free open source without support included in our applications, included in our microservices. Here, as part of the platform, we include the support of this. So we have a team that includes 24/7, 365 support, which means that we will see the issues before you see the issues. There is no call at 3 a.m. that you would join where there isn't already somebody from Crossvale on that call. If we have to call you, it's because there is the issue has extended or it has gone above our responsibilities. In all the years that we have only had one issue, and it was resolved very, very quickly. The way to resolve these issues is going to depend on your case, but you will always have our support for this. Todd, can you go to the next? And now is Todd's time.
Hello. All right. So why Crossvale's next gen banking platform is different. So what we're doing is because of our experience and what we've learned over the years in our banking projects is we've been able to take all this functionality that is pre-built and be able to now deliver that functionality to other banks in a way that you can customize. So the customization and our experience based off of your feedback on what your needs are, this gives you a custom next-gen platform that is able to launch you into the next generation of your IT services. So proven track record, we have the concept so we'll actually maintain it all for you, and the banking expertise and holistic approach. So the other part of this is very cost effective and scalable, especially since we're using a enterprise version of open source by Red Hat, which Red Hat has tremendously great solutions that are offered at very cost effective prices, as well as our managed operations to make sure that you're never in a situation where you don't feel like you understand how to actually deal with a problem. When the problem comes up, we're there as your subject matter expert on these platforms to make sure that everything is running smooth for you, and we support you and provide you with the understanding on the security to make sure you're fitting in all the compliance models. So you can't go out there. There is no caught solution. There's no off-the-shelf software that you can buy that's going to be able to do this for you. This is because what we're doing is we're helping you launch to that next phase where the new COTS solutions that come out, the new fintechs that come out, you are leveraged in a way that you can go, I'm interested in using this solution here. I know exactly how I can plug this in very quickly, and the business can start getting business results out of that and not have difficulty plugging in new commercial off-the-shelf software, as well as the way that we have our atomic services in there makes it so you don't have to have as many changes from the vendors that you're using. You can deal with those changes internally and not have to wait on their cycles that might be, we've all been there, 6 months, 9 months, a year or something to get some of the changes that you need when you're waiting on those vendors to do those changes. You can be very agile. So our next gen banking platform, 2 big factors on here is platform confidence and application excellence. So we're providing you with the confidence to be very quickly running critical workloads in there because we've run these platforms in other banks and other customers. We totally understand how to provide the platform confidence in a way that we can build it, design it, and configure it to meet all the compliance requirements, and then also watch it for you 24/7, 365, and dynamically improve your platform. The thing is, with moving to containerization, it's a new paradigm away from kind of the paradigm people have used in the past in deploying applications, and you need to understand how to dynamically tune the platform to get the best results out of it. And that's an area where we will work as your SME on that, as well as the application excellence. With the pre-designed solutions, the accelerators that we're bringing to the table, you're not having to bring somebody else come in and spend months and months, maybe years, developing all of these solutions for you, because we're bringing pre-designed solutions that are already coded, as well as frameworks to be able to do the customization. The framework then has 80% of the work already done when it's plugged into our next gen platform. So you can accelerate your modernization very, very quickly. And we build in the monitoring so that you understand what's going on with the applications and understand how to troubleshoot issues that are happening in those. If we move to why organizations need a next-gen banking platform, knowledge. Your team members are massively knowledgeable about what you guys already do. We go into banks and customers, and people know a lot about their IT systems and work very good with their current methods. But when changing to a new banking platform and changing to a new paradigm of how IT is moving, a struggle, because those people also still have to keep the lights on. You go into the big gigantic banks out there, they have a whole bunch of enterprise architects sitting on a floor dreaming up this type of stuff out there. But when you go into the mid-sized banks, the mid-sized banks are dealing with today's problems, trying to figure out how to solve what's going on and keep everything running on IT. And this is where our knowledge, we can come in and plug in this solution in a way that makes it so you're accelerated past the year of trying to figure out how to make a decision on how we're going to move to that next step. The pre-designed solution framework is really the massive key to this, because it's already been designed, it's already proven elsewhere in banks and meeting compliance requirements. This is a huge leap for everybody that needs to modernize. So it's easier for you to make that decision to move to the next step. Cost. The cost of the resources are expensive when you're trying to do this on your own and go out and get resources that understand the new modernization methodologies and build this stuff internally. And you don't know how to even hire them because you don't have those kinds of resources. So you may have to work through figuring out how to get the right ones. And consulting forces you into waterfall. When you go out there and you say, hey, I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna build a set of requirements, and then I'm gonna go interview different consulting teams to come in and provide that set of requirements. Well, now you're forced into going, let me build out this big, gigantic, long project and then spend months validating that, versus taking a framework and taking pre-designed solution and then saying, how do we make decisions around the customization that can happen very quickly so you can accelerate your modernization very fast. And also, we're enabling you then to get to that next step with automation and AI. So everybody wants to get there. The platform is capable of now plugging in those capabilities to be able to automate and self-heal, also to be able to plug in AI technologies in order for you to then use that to be able to become the next level in your banking delivery. So the value of the next gen platform, 0 to confident in days, not months. Reduce the time to confidence by 900%. We find most people when implementing a new platform takes them 9 months to get to a point that they feel they can run critical workloads. We've got customers to be able to run critical workloads in less than a month. So we can get you there very fast. Reduce time to start. Instead of taking months, quarters to be able to make a decision on starting your modernization project, because there's only a few decisions that have to be made because a lot of this is already pre-built. You can much faster make a decision on getting started and getting your modernization going. Remove risk of failure. We've never had a failed platform project. Every project that we've ever done on platform has always succeeded, and not all of them are easy. They're very, very complex projects that we've done. Remove vendor lock-in. We're providing you now with the capability of going and working with any COTS provider, any cloud, any hardware. What is going to work best for you? You're going to be in a situation where you can make the best decisions for what you're trying to accomplish for your unique situation. And reduce the team stress. Modernization is stressful, and especially when you're trying to now maintain that modernization and it's all new. So since our team is there 24/7, 365 with you, the safety net is there. So you're not sitting on calls at, again, 3 a.m. trying to figure out what's going on, and the bank's not going to be able to open in the morning because our team is there. We understand the platform. We know how to fix the problems. Complete solution. And this is the problem that most people run into is buying pieces and then trying to put it all together. It makes it difficult to really have that complete solution, where what we're providing you then is the complete platform that you can use as the building block to put whatever solution pieces you want to put on top, pre-designed or new stuff that you think of that you can do for your unique differentiator for your particular bank. We're providing you with subscription compliance, so you're getting enterprise subscriptions to make sure that this is fully supported, and you're getting all the power of Red Hat that comes to the table to validate and test and make sure that the platform is secure. And if there are patches or those types of things that need to be done to platform, we're there with Red Hat making sure that stuff is done, as well as new issues that come up. We have the complete support of Red Hat to be able to accelerate getting that done. Choose your infrastructure, run it anywhere. You make those choices, hybrid, on-prem, in the cloud. We can help you understand which is going to work best for you, so you get the best economics out of your platform. Scoped custom build of the platform. So we have a proprietary approach where we come in and say, we got this prescriptive way to get it done, but we're working with your team to say, okay, in your particular environment, how does this need to change to fit the needs of your requirements? And our guys know how to solve those problems as well. And then operationalization. You can't build a platform without making sure that it's fully operationalized, so you know how to maintain it. And there's processes on the maintenance. Those are all pre-built that we're bringing to the table for you on your new modern platform. So cost of waiting is high. So what we find in most organizations that is trying to modernize is they get to this point where they're trying to make a decision on it, and apathy is the big issue. It's hard to make a decision because there's lots of decisions that have to be made, not just one. So what we're bringing you to the table is a capability of saying we're bringing a complete solution that minimizes what the decisions are that you have to make, so you can start now. But if you don't start to modernize today, you're just building more technical debt by building things on top of legacy platforms. You're increasing your operational costs as things become more risk of being out of compliance. As things are becoming more outdated, it operationally starts to cost you more. cost of resources go up, the older the platform is, and cost of subscriptions go up when you go into EOS or ELS type models. Reduce agility and flexibility. By not moving to a modern platform, you're not taking advantage of what the modern solutions are out there that gives you that flexibility and agility. If the bank down the street that you're competing with is massively agile and flexible, they can deliver new solutions to their customers faster and provide better customer experiences. And frankly, in banking, very, very regulated. The big difference that people see as a customer is that customer experience. So you have to be able to compete on that agility and flexibility to be able to gain market share. Reduced competitiveness, same thing that we just talked about there. On if your competition is doing it, it puts you in a worse situation. And increased security risks. Newer platform, newer security built in, and can deal with newer security problems. And so our modern platform brings the security and the data risk and compliance requirements is all built in. So next steps. So if this sounds interesting to you, reach out. I'll have a slide on here on how you can reach out to us. But what we do for our process to be able to get you from where you are today, which is, I'm interested. This sounds like something that we would like to investigate. We set up a discovery call, talk about your problems, your goals. What are you trying to accomplish? We can come back and say, you're a good fit. Now, maybe you're not ready. You're not ready yet. There's some other things that you need to solve first before you're able to get to be ready to take on this. We do a workshop then. So we'll set up a workshop, come in, educate your team members, and show how that platform is going to solve your problems. We'll scope the particular changes and modifications that need to be made, and then work through the design of the customized part of the platform. And then we'll work on delivery of that platform for you. We'll come in and deliver, and we have a team that will deliver, and we'll work with your team also as we mentor your team members to understand the platform. So by the time we're finished delivering this, you can have team members involved, or you could hand it all off. We're Crossvale. We can just take care of any future development for you, whatever model works best for you. A few success stories. So we think about, I had a bunch of a bunch of names of banks out there that we've worked with on different modernization projects. And so we're going to get you, we'll get you a copy of this deck out there after, but this shows just a few success stories that we can talk about out there in mid-sized banks, regional bank, and also rapidly growing mid-sized banks. The big thing that we find in our customers that is very common when we talk about how the success is built is they clearly have a great understanding of what they want, where they want to go. They can define that. They can go, we know where we want to be. There's these things the business wants, and they know exactly where they're at. But the big issue is how do you make all the decisions in between to be able to get there? And what we've done with our customers in the past is help them limit those decisions to a small amount of decisions to accelerate your capability of getting to modernization quicker. So as we say here, 0 to confident in days, not months. So if you want to know more, you can go to the Crossvale website, go to the contact page, and there's several different ways to be able to contact us. We will follow up after this webinar with a follow-up email. And you can just respond on that, and we can work on just setting up a next step, which would be a discovery meeting. Jose, any last words?
Well,
So
sorry.
I think there is
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Give me a second to unmute. No, I appreciate everybody's time. Thank you very much for sticking with us until the very end. Please share your opinion in the polls. It really helps us to do more of this and get better at it. Thank you very much.
We'll leave the webinar open for a little bit so that people can get the polls done that are still on. Hey, Laura, there's a question about accessing the poll. Some people are having problems accessing the poll.
I'm checking because some of you can see it is in the chat section. You're not seeing it.
I saw it come up
can
on my
also see
screen
the
and was
poll.
able to just
I can
go
see
in and hit it, and it showed it worked. So maybe if we have to resend it out, resend the poll.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.